100%. If he said to me, and I told him this, he doesn't have to play rugby. If he said he wants to not play it anymore, I'd say, fine. What do you want to play then? Football or hockey? Because you're doing a team sport. And I've said it to my daughter as well. She's only really interested in dancing and gymnastics and stuff like that. I'm like, no, 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 no. Team sport for you, hockey. So she's
I
doing that.
was gonna say your daughter's like very very. In fact, you're probably they're both quite like gender typical, aren't they?
They
Like
are.
your boy's very much a boy, your girl's very much a girl. So it's like
Yes,
gonna be difficult forcing it to doing different things that they don't want to do.
that's right.
Um, No, that's cool. Well, welcome everybody to Brain Food Live on Air, bringing it to you every Friday, no fail. I say every Friday, no fail, but we did actually fail on Friday recently because the thing wouldn't go live. I think it was last Friday we weren't able to launch, and that was episode 300 or something. It was like a massive anniversary. Couldn't launch it. I got a bit of feedback from Crowdcast. Apparently, it was just a surge of people being busy at the wrong time, and we weren't able to go live. We are going to reset that show. It's already pre-booked. It's going to be done, I think, in middle of May. And we're also going to be skipping next week because it's Good Friday. And my sort of friends told me, you know what, Good Friday next week, Easter, everyone's going to be on holiday. So we're going to be a little bit of a break. So this is the show. We're going to have we've got a bunch of shows before Friday next week, but we won't be doing Brain Food Live next Friday, just for as an FYI. Anyway, great to see everybody here. Let's do some sound checks first of all. Firstly, if everyone is here with us on Crowdcast, if you can hear us okay here, let me know in the comments whether the audio and visual is fine. We should be blasting this out on LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn, where are we? Let's have a look. I just need to check whether we are broadcasting there as well. Never too confident of this. Spinning discs, spinning wheels. I'm getting over. Okay, I seem to be all right on LinkedIn as well. All right, if you can hear me on LinkedIn, drop me a comment. Let me know you can hear me okay, and we're all good. Okay, everything's good here. Thank you very much, Donna. Thank you very much, Lexi. All good stuff. Right. Shall we get on with the show? Shall we get on with the show? No, we shouldn't, because every show needs to be. We need to give massive thanks to the companies that step up every week to sponsor Brain Food Live, without which we would not be able to run a show like this and keep the conversation going. This week, it's one of our favorites. It's one of the favorite products that I've sort of in the industry, to be honest, these days. Definitely one of my favorites because they've been a consistent sponsor and supporter of everything we've been doing over the past several years. It is MetaView, of course, a brilliant sort of AI note taker service at base level, but since then they've really expanded the sort of the value that you get from simply recording information, interview information, and then mining that for all kinds of info that's going to help educate your business and improve your business in terms of hiring, efficiency, quality, velocity, and all the rest of it. But anyway, let me not sort of take on and talk any more about that, because I've roped in CEO Sile Majos to come in and talk to us a little bit about it, so he can actually come in and introduce, what they're really up to. By the way, another thing really interesting about MetaView is that their product innovation rate is just really fast. I mean, they seem to be producing a new cool thing, a revelatory new thing, every week. So yeah, brilliant to have this happening. We have Sal here as well. Sal, I also now remember Stephanie told me you're in San Francisco. So this is a terribly early time for you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I was going to say, come on, folks. There's only 225 of you and one of me. Couldn't we have found a more convenient time for me?
I'm so sorry, mate. I was going to agree with Stephanie. You're going to do this, but then she said, "Oh yeah, Sal's going to be up for it."
Yeah, no, this is about wake up time at the moment, so it's a little bit sort of I'll be honest, it's a little bit roll out of bed and do it, but it's not great. Obviously, waking up early while I'm here, just given the body clock, so no big deal.
Give us an idea as to why you're out there, Sal. I know you've got lots of work in West Coast and in US generally. Give us an update what you're seeing in terms of your customer base, US market, and where you've been conference wise and so on.
Here this time just for various customer meetings predominantly. We also have a few investors here, so I like to catch up with them. We're actually opening an office here later this year as well, so casing out some spots. So yeah, a bunch of reasons really. There is like definitely we really like the vibe. I'm sure a lot of folks who listen to this maybe live or later are based here as well. There is definitely something in the water over here, and we're an AI company, and this is the home of AI, and it's good to sort of get sprinkled with a little bit of that magic. At least once every couple of months or so.
Yeah, really good. And I didn't know you were setting up an office out there. Well done, Sal. I think it makes perfect sense as well. Exactly for the reasons you said. Lots of early adopters, lots of innovation-friendly businesses, companies that want to experiment and are not held back by reticence in some way. So yeah, lots we can learn from West Coast US, no doubt about it. Sarah, listen, I think everyone knows MetaView already by now, but there's still people out there that don't. Let's face it, we're still early adopter phase. We know all this is true. That's true for a lot of technology. So why don't you give us the baseline on what is MetaView? What do you do? Who do you do for?
Yeah, sure. So MetaView is most well known as the number one AI scribe built specifically for recruiting. So, and when I say built specifically recruiting, that really means two things. MetaView is really excellent at understanding and structuring the notes out of your recruiting conversation. So things like when a candidate is a little bit circuitous about how they talk about their compensation expectations, just as you understand what they're getting at, MetaView understands what they're getting at too, and actually understands that information accurately. You can come out of your recruiting calls with a list of hard skills that actually sort of identified by that the candidate has shared, identified by the AI. Again, not this super circuitous sort of expression of how the candidate described them, but actually what did we get out of that call. So it's really good essentially at distilling the conversation down into the information that's most important to you. And then the other thing is it's really empathetic to your workflow. So it understands the other people you're working with, the other systems you're working with, and then fits really nicely into the recruiting workflow. So those are the big reasons why people adopt this recruiting specific note taker. The reality is, as a recruiter, those conversations you're having, whether it's hiring managers or with candidates, those are the things that determine what you do with the rest of your day, and they're really important to how you operate. And so having a dedicated domain specific note taker, as we say, makes a lot of sense. But as Hung said, there's then what you sort of quickly realize is there's a ton of really interesting things you can do with the conversational data at large, because of course, there's, depending on the size of your organization, hundreds or thousands of these new data points that you're getting every week into your company that we can help you, whether it's report on. So very common use cases, getting salary expectations reporting, cut by location or job seniority that you get across the set, or now recently you can write your job post based on your intake call. So you go from having the intake call to just having a job post ready for you. And it's really cool because it doesn't just look at the conversation. It also looks at all of your other job posts and sort of synthesizes together, well, what's the bits that I need to leave the same? What's the bits that I should change, and produces it for you, which is basically the work that you're used to doing yourself. And it also sort of keeps a track of all your conversations and helps you know when there might be some bugs in your interview process. So definitely check it out. I can see a few people have Hung, you actually posted the link in the comments on Crowdcast at least. So definitely check it out. We also launched a podcast recently, by the way, so check that out too. I'm gonna post a link to that, and you folks, I know this group will like that a lot. So that's in the comments as well.
And please do subscribe to that podcast. I've listened to the first episode already. I love the vibe on it. It's perfect. I love the fact that vendors do this, by the way. I think every sort of a technology business needs to think of themselves as like a contributor to the discourse, and not just chucking products into the community, but talking and building community with us. That's exactly what we want to see. So fantastic stuff. And Sally, you missed like the most important fact. I mean, isn't the case that you can still use MetaView for free or something? Are you still got that on?
Yeah. Well, I as far as we're concerned, it's free forever. Obviously, it's hard to talk about things and ever say forever, but we have a free plan. So essentially, you don't have to pay for the product if you're, let's say, just looking to experiment with it for a few months, or even if you're just going through like a personal hiring spike and you just want to use it, you don't have to pay. Essentially, you get 25 free calls per month. It refreshes every month. So if you're not doing a ton of hiring, then that's a really good product for you. Obviously, it's a good way to trial as well. But if you're thinking of buying this, so that's great. Obviously, if you're running these calls yourself, you should go to our website, start on the free plan. If you're thinking of buying this for your team, like if you're a recruiting leader, then feel free to do that too. But I'd probably recommend getting in touch with, there's also a way to get in touch with the team, or you can reach out to me directly, just because some of the features are a little bit, almost some of the management and administration features, sort of better to have someone take you through.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Great stuff, Sal. Listen, I'll let you go, so you probably need to crawl back into bed. So thank you very much for getting out and having a chat with us on this. MetaView.ai, folks. MetaView.ai, do check them out. I think we're a really early leader in defining this category. And yeah, super, super popular product. Everyone's raving about it. So if you haven't used anything, go and use it. So you can do it, as you can take it on for free. If you don't like it, fine. But no excuse about, can't get into AI. It's right here. Great stuff, Sal. Take it easy, man. I'll see you soon, okay?
See ya.
There you go, Adam. Founder commitment. You know about this, getting out of bed ridiculously early just to crack through. Got to do it. Simple as that. All right, let's have a review of the newsletter real quick before we get on to the topic, which, by the way, is sourcing automation. What can we do in 2025? We're going to do some live demos and all of this, so we'll see that very shortly. But let's do a quick scan on what happened on the newsletter last week. We'll discuss those real briefly. Give us a couple of things that were interesting, Adam.
It was difficult this week because everything was interesting, as it normally is, but it was hard to rule out what not to talk about. I just can't. I feel really guilty about bringing this one up because I really like Deel. But The Watchman was some dude who was a payroll guy based in Dublin who was hired by Rippling, worked for Rippling, like Deel's main competitor, and it seems that he's had a conversation with the CEO at Deel, who's convinced him to basically undertake some espionage for like 5,000-6,000 monthly. It's like nothing. Why would you ever do that? There's so many mental things about this. It's anyway. The thing that I don't think.
How much? Not get into it, but everyone recognizes this was a low number to do the amount of espionage he was doing. I'm probably wandering into murky territory here, but what would be a right number in your opinion for that kind of
espionage? For the intelligence itself, at least 20 grand a month. But for the danger money, probably 40, 50 grand a month. Yeah. I mean, but the problem is, it's not that guy's career and potentially going to jail or whatever. It's the CEO at Deel. Like, he's really so. How the guy got caught is just a work of genius from Rippling. So they've sent a message to 3 senior executives at Deel, including the head of legal, to say, we recognize there's somebody working on espionage for your company using this channel, and this channel. And the third one was called D-Defectors, which was a Slack channel that nobody had access to unless you typed in D-Defectors to find it. So the only people who knew were 2 or 3 senior people at Rippling, sent this information to 2 or 3 senior people at Deel. Within the day, that individual had logged into that channel, which otherwise he wouldn't have found it. So it was a proper honey trap kind of plot here. Yeah. It's going to be a Netflix, one-off, isn't it? An hour-long, a 90-minute Netflix show in a year's time.
I think you could stretch this into a series. It's crazy. I mean, again, it's salacious, it's unpleasant. We don't want to see it, but it is like just compulsive. Folks who don't know about it, just check out Deel and Rippling. Just type those into Google. Unfortunately, those two sort of super companies and super products are now going to be wrapped up with this story, and it's just incredible, really. And it is really tough to see what is going to happen because the evidence seems to be quite strong that there's some real malpractice going on. So yeah, crazy stuff. Okay, give us another, mate.
Let's talk about the evolution of talent acquisition. The report from TQ Solutions, Nadine O'Regan puts this together. And the summary really is that we're moving faster than ever from recruiting being a transactional job to being a business partnering job, a consultative job, where you need skills in like data analysis and AI and stakeholder influence. And you need to be able to really understand talent intelligence and inform on, like, the rec strategy, shall we call it? And they've recommended there's like 4 phases to go from one to the next, which is quite clear. It's like diagnose, pilot, expand, embed, I think is the 4th one. And yeah, I mean, it's full of, I've done a real TLDR on that, but it's a really great report. It always is. And I think it's well worth scanning that one.
Yeah, if people don't know TQ Solutions, Australian kind of talent services business, but they and their founder, Gareth Flynn, has been really kind of very much plowing a lonely furrow for several years about the need for TA to radically transform. And when we talk about radically transform, it means like abandoning the terminology of talent acquisition and really changing what that function does. He's been sort of obviously had his share of opprobrium thrown his way for having that extreme position. But I think sort of the sort of circumstances are kind of proven him to be correct, and increasingly so. It is about business capability. What are we providing to the company on an on-demand basis? The business wants capacity and capability on demand, and it doesn't necessarily come in the form of a permanent employee, and it might not come in the form of a human employee at all. So we need to think about how we provide that service there. TQ Solutions, I'm not saying they have the solution, but worth reading this report. Super, super interesting. Okay, give us one more before we dive into this, Adam.
Well, look, just on that, and if you don't mind, I'd like to throw in a quick topic which wasn't in the newsletter, but I'm sure it probably will be in this next newsletter, which is that what you just said around it might not be a human solution at all. And I've been talking about this for quite some time, and there's been a couple of bits of validation on what's happening here. The talent acquisition team, as it's called today, is going to have to, or the head of talent is going to have to become the head of getting tasks done by the organization. And there's 2 bits of evidence to support that. I've been saying this for a year or more. There's 2 bits of evidence to support that. Shopify CEO's memo, which said, from now on, before there's any hiring that happens, you need to identify, is there a tech solution, specifically an AI solution, I think. Can that do the job? If that cannot do the job and you've gone through a rigorous assessment on that, then you can hire, right? And then the second thing is this slightly mysterious, because there's not a lot of detail in the press release, but this joint venture between Adecco and Salesforce, which was announced yesterday or the day before, I mean, reading between the lines, what the purpose there is, the customer feels like it needs to make some hires. This business is going to get the brief and is going to be able to return back to the customer. That's not humans you need for that. That's this AI agent solution we've got here. For a different one, it'll be, yeah, okay, you definitely need humans for that. There is no AI like option for that. So we'll put in the people. Putting in the people, putting in the tech. I think this is probably Adecco disrupting itself before they become irrelevant. I'm not saying staffing and recruitment companies have become irrelevant, but when you're that size, it's the world's 2nd biggest, you've got a heck of a lot of incumbent business to try and protect. So how can you do it? You can do it by creating a joint venture with Salesforce.
Yeah, people should check out both of those things. I think those topics that Adam's talking about were posted into the online community on Facebook there. So go and join that. You can get access to that early. Both of those topics, by the way, will be featured onto Crew and Brainfood on Sunday because they are really important moves. I agree with you entirely, Adam. Your assessment is bang on. The Shopify sort of memo is only one memo, but everyone is talking about it. You can bet your bottom dollar that every CEO will have a copy of that by now. And they're thinking, right, I need to get this out to my team as well. And yeah, I think you're spot on with the idea what Adecco are doing, what every incumbent struggles to do, which is to disrupt itself. You might as well own the business that's going to disrupt what you do. So very, very smart. Have a think yourself. If you're a head of TA, you're a TA leader or a TA operator, how that transposes to your current operation. You basically need to be the function that goes back into the business and say, I'm going to deliver you the capacity and capability. But yeah, it doesn't always have to be a human being hired. Maybe it is sometimes, but many other times it won't be. We need to be in position to be the function that makes that recommendation and delivers through on that promise. So anyway, without further ado, let's bring on sort of some of our guests. We're going to be talking about an element of this, sourcing automation. All of this was inspired, of course, by a post I saw online, which I then highlighted by a friend of ours, Alexi Gates. So Alexi is going to come on and show us what it's all about. Do check out this automation flow. I really enjoyed it. This, by the way, is slightly different from, what I call a vendor integrated AI. So, we know AI is going to come via platform and vendors. Yeah, it's true. It's going to roll into it. It's nothing we've got to worry too much about. But what I want to talk about today's session is what can a single recruiter do in terms of DIYing their way through it? What can be done in 2025 in terms of, look, can I plug and play all of these different consumer grade tools and construct something that's going to radically improve the way in which I do things in this particular case and topic on sourcing. So hopefully we can get Alexi on in a bit, and we'll see where we're at from there. Whilst that's happening, folks, why don't you take a look on the right-hand sidebar? There's a poll going on there. I want you to basically have a quick look at the poll and cast your vote. Question is, how do you mainly encounter AI in your current workflow? Number one, is it DIY consumer grade tech? Number two, is it vendor provided, i.e. like MetaView? Number three, is it enterprise provided, i.e. someone like Microsoft or Google? And then if it's something else, then let us know. If you vote other, by the way, you got to comment down and let me know what that is. Anyway, we have Alexi here. Fantastic stuff. Wonderful to see you, Alexi. I didn't realize your hair had grown so long.
Hear
you can't hear us? That's a shame. We can hear him. Why does this happen? It's always people who've got advanced AI.
Nothing.
Yes, Alexei, we can hear you.
Nothing.
You can't see us either. I'll tell you what this is. This is just like too many cameras. By the way, this is why I do look in sepia, so to say, because you got to simplify your setup. Okay, whilst Alexi's going to come on, I'm going to try and bring on Ala. We've got a bunch of people that are going to come on and talk to us. So let's see whether. Oh, here's Alexi again. Alexi, can you hear us? I'm going to say probably not. No, he can't. Why is that? He can't hear or see us. Okay. We're gonna remove Alexi for now. Is he removed? Yeah, let's get rid. And we'll just bring Ala on and we'll see where we go. Oh, he's still there. That's where we can hear him typing. Okay, let's just bring Ala Pavlova on. We've got Kanwar Singh Kohli on as well from Booking.com. We've got Eva as well. Come on, there's Ala. Ala, how are you doing? Wonderful to see you.
Thanks so much. It's sunny in Amsterdam, so this is enough for Dutch people, enjoy life.
I've heard that the spring is finally here, but did I also read there's going to be like a massive snowfall over the weekend or something? So something crazy might occur. But yeah. Anyway, wonderful to see you, Ala. Why don't you sort of give us a quick intro? Who are you? What it is you do?
My name is Ala. I'm based in the Netherlands. I'm an interim freelancer, recruiter, sourcer, or right now you can call me a workflow analyst or recruitment AI engineer. So I'm doing a lot of things with research on candidates, location, on things like better decisions on the workflow, integrations, automations, all this cool stuff. Yeah, I work for APAC if you have any challenges hiring in China. So they are there. So if you want to talk about it, we're happy to talk about APAC hiring.
Fantastic. One of these days we'll do that. In fact, hopefully one of these days get the opportunity to meet out in Asia, but potentially we'll hang out in Amsterdam in any case. Okay, Alan, the topic, sourcing automation, where are we in 2025? Where do you think we are in 2025? Have you had a play about sort of different tools that you can kind of pick around and stitch together a decent sourcing automation workflow? Can you give us some education on this?
Sure. I will be also very transparent with you that a lot of things that I do and try, I do it on my personal laptop first. I've noticed that anything you would like to bring to the company, especially if it's a corporate, you have to go through a few things like legal consent and things. I'm sure MetaView has every information that IT departments would be needed to implement the tool. So I still feel like any experimentation with the new tools on the market, I go and risk myself and trying it first. I think the biggest focus for 2025 is the workflow building and making sure that the tools you're using are connected, integrated. And I do see a good trend on that. Like as we have a lot of integrations, MetaView is super flexible, whatever you need. And more companies are doing that. And when it comes to sourcing is not automated yet, but some parts of it already kind of really powered by tools. And I would like to sign up a few people for a challenge. I'm using the tool that is called Engage AI. It's not advertisement or anything. You can use anything you like for the nurturing and engaging with candidates. And I will tell you that if you do it consistently, like if you try to engage with people that are not necessarily you're hiring right now, but in your field, let's say you decided to connect with all possible project managers in the Netherlands, do it as for engagement purpose, and you will be surprised. So I get the numbers. Every third person applied for when I post the job because they already see me. Basically, what I've noticed with AI and things, people are like, oh, it's too much noise, too much information, too many tools. How do I survive? And this is the second thing that I'm focusing personally is blocking the time every week in my agenda for 30 minutes to do two things. First 15 minutes, I look into my current tools. Oh, Zoom has AI. Miro has AI. Airtable has AI. LinkedIn has AI. Have you tried new assistants? So I first look into my toolkit, whatever they have, and to be honest, it's very interesting. They have a lot of good integrations and things you can try. And the second thing, like 15 minutes I spent on the tools, on the new tools. What is new? What is sexy? My favorite now is Napkin AI. Everybody knows. It's data visualization, easy, free. And I do still think that right now we are experiencing the tool game. Like before, sourcing was about tricks. Oh, you can scrape and take things. Now it's about being a little bit more deeper in technology. As a recruiter, I need to know a few things, basic things, how to connect. Like Zapier is probably like, the basic knowledge that I need to have now. But it was advanced a few years ago, if you ask me. Now it's like super, super necessary. And building workflows, connecting these tools, that's probably my focus. So if you're looking for a fancy title, workflow analyst. Sounds good. Sorry, this is like a long answer. I'm sorry.
No, but it's a really, really good sort of way to paint the pictures to even the evolution of the job, because we've got to know how these technologies work and work together such that we can actually deliver improved efficiencies to the stuff that we're employed to do. I think, workflow is going to be part of the story. Workflow automation is going to be a big part of the story for anybody working in people operations today. Even though that's counterintuitive, maybe it's kind of like Adam's point about disrupting yourself, but you've got to own the disruption, otherwise someone else is going to disrupt you. I want to talk about Engage AI to begin with. I love this idea. So did you say something about that it improved your response rate or improved the applicant rate of the people you wanted to apply to jobs, because the tool helped you build relationships with people? And so it wasn't just a cold advert, but actually people recognize your name, built name recognition, social capital with it, and boom, there you go. They're more likely to pay attention. I'd be interested to know a little bit more about that tool, actually. How does it work?
Sure. There's a few things. I'm going to drop probably the link in the chat. That is, if you would like to go advanced, so you can connect. The link is too big. Okay, I'm going to try. Yeah. Engage AI is like a Chrome extension. It's the added tools. So I'm not advertising that this is the best, but what it does, it has a free option. You just react on posts of people, and so you can automate like a lead campaign. So basically, sourcing was always about leads in a way, right? So I need to generate leads to get to candidates. What I've noticed that the strategy where you go for current role is most of the times is like immediate no, because I'm not looking for a job or whatever, but the strategy, hey, I'm just curious, how are you doing? And I used Engage AI to post the comments on the engineering post. I see the engineer I like, I use Engage AI to do the post. They triggered. But what is recruiter doing here? Like, what she knows about it? And like, they get curious, they get connected. And I started to use it on a daily, daily, I have like 10 minutes a day to reach out to anyone who I'm not hiring, but I wish I could. And I continued as a game. And then interesting enough, when I started to look into applicants, this first, I noticed I know this person. I wanted to reach out, and then we pulled the report. Basically, all these people were connected to me, 100% connection, and every third person that I did the Engage AI experiment, they were applying as active applicants. I was shocked,
really cool story.
but it was really intentions were different, yeah.
Yeah, folks. I mean, if you're actually on the agency side, you're doing BD, why are you not using this? Because you should absolutely be tapping up every single prospect. I'm actually inviting people to an event right now. Why the heck am I not using this? I should totally get this and start. I need guests for Brain Food Live. I should actually do this and try and cultivate guests and stuff. So yeah, really love the idea. And it's just it's a free tool to use. Can you tell me a little bit about how it actually works when you say, I target this person? Is it a case it just launches a drip campaign against the person you've clicked? Something what does it actually do?
Yeah, you probably can, but you can build a list of prospects. You just select people. Let's say you target a specific company, or you have you search LinkedIn or for a specific title. You add people to the prospect, but this already kind of a little bit paid features. I think for the free usage, you just go and comment and reach out directly to these people. If you want to be more on the campaign side and use paid features, you create a list of prospects. 2 things you do. Yeah, you create the campaign for the person, first reach out and connect. But you also can do is you can monitor the prospect. I was always interested, what is going on with the person who is, I approached maybe a year ago, half a year. I don't have memory anymore. I'm getting older. So I need something for me to track it. And as soon as the person is open, I get immediate notification. This, I think the feature of the prospect monitoring is necessary for sourcing success. That someone is going somewhere. And yeah, it's interesting enough, but I think using tools for nurturing like this, campaigns for the future, landed in a very unexpected good results.
That's really interesting, Alla. Thank you so much for this. I'm going to use it straight away. It's a Chrome plugin. Let's give it a shot. How does LinkedIn feel about this? Is it something that you're aware of where we're at with this? What's the danger level of using a product like this when
it's always good
LinkedIn's terms of service? Yeah.
Any tool you're using, you have to check it. With the free version and the way I was using, I was playfully using it, not creating campaigns. I was just really, really reach out and commenting. And that's what's enough to get to the good results. If you would like to have go with the paid feature and look at LinkedIn, so I would always advise be careful, because it's proven that LinkedIn is not supportive on third-party applications, and it's best probably just to see what type of information it's asking. Is it triggering anything? Again, going deeper, going really into the tools, understanding what it does with information, not just using it. So I think if you are about to start with the free version and just try consistently for 3 weeks using it to engage with people in their posts, in like, just reaching out to them and see if you would like to go more advanced.
Yeah, final point on this, folks. Adam, I know you want to say something, but I want to just cover this real quick. Basically, if you're a job seeker, right, and you're looking for work, you're in TA, you're a job seeker, this tool could be an absolute godsend for you, because this seems to allow you to, let's say, identify a list of a bunch of companies, the people that work in those companies that might be able to give you an opportunity. It'll create your tracking list of people that you should be engaging with in an organic and natural way. So you're not just pitching them when when you see a job opportunity, but you're building relationships with people that might be able to give you an opportunity some way in the future. I think this could be a really powerful way to try and build social capital of people that can convert. They can give you an opportunity down the line. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm receiving a bunch of emails sort of on every day. There's a message, a DM or something saying, "Hung, I've lost my job, looking for this. Can you help?" I'm struggling to give a positive response, but I'm really recommending something like this for them going forward. This is very, very interesting. Okay, Adam, do you got any comments to make on this?
Yeah, respect to Allah's genius.
Oh, I was expecting a very difficult question to answer. I mean, thank you. I really appreciate your comment, but it's a lot of failures before you get to the success part. So you haven't seen me crying.
Of course it is. It always is. The best solutions have always taken lots of iterations, and it's not failures. It's just you've worked out ways that it doesn't work.
And it's also discovery, right? So that's the last question for you before I let you go, Ala. Like, how did you find this tool, and what is your mechanism for finding new stuff? You say 15 minutes every week, you're looking at new stuff. Okay, great. How do you find new stuff? Are you happy to share?
Of course. As I said, there's no secret, like booking the time in your agenda for 30 minutes, discover anything is helpful. And I subscribe for things like TLDR AI. This is like newsletters, and they every week sending you like what is the hottest. And so you can choose industries, and I usually go for like marketing, sales, and picking the AI from there. And to be honest, that's how they ended up in my pocket. So like, for example, like Napkin AI for data visualization, super easy to use, but this is used by marketing teams. And I was like, okay, so there's so many interesting things in other industries. TLDR AI, nice newsletters for technology, but you don't need to subscribe. You just go, I'm going to drop the link now. You don't need to subscribe. You can see the news straight away on their page with what is going on in the world, and that's how I do it.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I was not sure, like if I'm going deaf or did I put them too deep?
I can't hear you.
You're just on mute. I'm sorry. But you probably said a lot of good things about me.
Go back 20 minutes.
I did.
I haven't heard anything for the last 20 minutes.
That's all good, mate. I tell you why. I'm in my mum's village right now, and there's a dog barking its head off, and it was like, oh no, I have to try and cut the noise. Therefore, I clicked off. But anyway, Ala, listen, wonderful to get your feedback on this and your updates. I'll get people to follow you on this. And yeah, I have to let you go at this point because we've got other people to bring on. But I'll see you soon. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Cool. Listen, mate. I mean, that product is already like way advanced than what we like. You did Candidate ID like 5-6 years or so ago. Like products like this, like just the Chrome plugin is coming in and providing like incredible, CRM type capability that it wouldn't have been possible to envisage in a very, very short time ago. So it's crazy how things have rapidly developed. Okay, let's give Alexei another go. Let's see if we can bring him on and see whether we can do live demo. Alexei, how are you? Can you hear us?
Yes, perfectly.
There we go. Let me compliment you on your haircut again, my friend.
Yes, thank you. I made it for your show. Thank you.
Yeah. Keep it, man. I love it. More power. It's like Samson, long follicles. It's the way forward. Alexei, why don't you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What it is you do?
Yes, thank you. I'm not sure I can speak as fast as you, but I'll try. So I'm a talent sourcer and also a team leader. And I'm doing sourcing since 2015. So it's like 10 years anniversary now. I'm on the agency side. So we source for startups, mostly Israeli tech startups, Startup Nation, help them to scale in Israel and globally. That's in short.
Fantastic stuff, Alexei. I've just shared Alexei's LinkedIn in the chat stream there. Make sure you connect with him. Now, the reason why this kind of entire show emerged was because I read a blog that Alexei actually wrote. Wonderful blog, by the way. I'm going to share the link in the chat stream again in the future. But it was a really fantastic example of putting together a sourcing automation workflow with different types of tools. Alexei, why don't you talk us through it, through sort of your work there? Maybe we get after that we can just have a demo as to what you're talking about. So, what exactly did you put together, and what does it do?
Yes, so I really like what Ala was saying, that we are all in this era of workflow automation that maybe soon will be, by the way, replaced by vendors that will do all of it. But at the moment, this is what I found working great. So I will show my screen because I want to show you the chart, and then it will be easier to talk about it. Entire screen. Okay. It's okay. You can see my screen.
Yep, I think so.
Cool.
Folks, you can hover on the big window and also expand it if you can't see it properly. But yes, we can see fine.
Amazing. So the flow actually kind of covering what you can do manually, just to scale it and make it much more faster and much more better using AI and also kind of tools. So in short, we're gonna take a search or on LinkedIn or on SalesNav, not Recruiter, SalesNav, this is what we use. We're gonna then scrape the results that we have using or Phantom Buster or Apify. That's the two tools that I'm working with. Later on, we're gonna upload our results into Clay. Now, Clay is the big thing here. I know that in recruitment, it's not so common, this tool Clay, but Clay is like very, very popular now and very trending in go-to-market for sales, SDRs, account executives, and go-to-market engineers. It's actually like a mind-blowing tool. You can do with it so much, also for us as talent sourcers. And inside Clay, I will show some kind of cool things that you can do with your leads, like enriching, finding contact details, making personalized messages with AI, and so on and so on and so on. And later on, after you finish your work with Clay, you just pass it on to a sequencing tool. I'm personally working with Jam, but you can also use like Sourcewell or others, and for business development, one of those tools. So this is like the flow. And Hank, if you want to have like questions before we dive in, go ahead.
Yeah, no, the tool Clay is well known within the sales space. Certainly, gone like a rocket ship. Why don't you educate the recruitment audience what Clay is? How would you describe it as a product?
Very good question. So Clay, you can say a lot about it, but to make it very, very simple, it's like a very, very smart sheet, like Google Sheet or an Excel, which has tons of integrations. I jump to this page. So this is Clay. And you can actually have built-in integration inside Clay, which you can connect with an API key. This is all list of tools that you can integrate with Clay. But if you don't find your tool here, your integration here, you can still integrate it with a custom API. So for example, a tool like Jam or Sourcewell don't have a native integration with Clay, but if you want, you can also do that. It's a bit more technical. You need to understand a bit about API documentation, but it's also possible. So yeah, actually I wanted to say maybe about Clay that Might be a bit scary to work with the tool in the beginning. It seems a bit technical and a bit intimidating at the beginning. So actually, to be honest, we took like a coach, like a mentor, to walk us through with Clay, because it's really has a learning curve, but it's really worth it. And I will show here in this demo like few things. Don't expect to be a Clay expert, of course, after what I show.
That's fine, Alexei. By the way, are you sort of looking for people who are supplying automation training and someone who can handhold you through? There is an emerging group of people that are focusing on this and supplying these services to the recruitment industry. Some of them have been on our sort of show a number of times. Do reach out to them. You know, Martin Redstone, Johannes Sundlo, a bunch of other folks out there. We've had technical people hanging around for a long time. I see Aaron Lintz in the chat. He's an operating recruiter, but I'm sure anybody would benefit from an hour's worth of paid consultancy to Aaron to train you on how to do it. Allah can help you do this. I'm sure Alexei would not have a problem taking some training budget from you. Get educated. Don't sit there and think you could chew it all yourself. Have someone else can support you. But got to get into it. I think it's worth your while. Okay, Alexei, go ahead.
Yes. So we don't have much time, so let's just jump into it. I will show all the different steps, and I will stop after each step for questions. So make sure it's kind of clear. Okay. So guys, let's start with our search. We start with a Sales Navigator search. We personally don't work with a recruiter for different reasons. I won't go into it now. We work with SalesNav. Also, before jumping into those workflows, the purpose here when you make your search is to map the entire talent pool. Okay, so here in my search, I search only for 122 people for this demo. Okay, don't take this as the number that you would search. So here we're searching for a senior front-end developer. You see, I just put it one job title to have less people actually. And I'm searching in London, United Kingdom, only in software development industry. Okay, just for the purpose of this demo. The idea here is to map the whole talent pool, meaning like if we are talking about London, I would maybe target around 10K people. I would do my search, and actually I would do few searches divided. And why? Because SalesNav is limiting how many people you can see. So it's around 2,500 people per search. So if you have more, you won't be able to see them, and you won't be able to scrape them. So the ideal would be to make like 3-4 different searches with different keywords, different filters, and then scrape it into one big spreadsheet. But for the purpose of this demo, we found this list of senior front-end developers in London mentioning React in their LinkedIn profile. Okay, we have this. What next? Okay, so we are jumping to the next one. If there are questions about this, I can answer quickly. If not, we jump to the next tool.
Yeah, just keep going, Alexei.
Yeah.
We'll leave the questions to the end.
Yeah, perfect. Next tool is Phantom Buster, one of my favorite tools already for many years. It's not new. It's not connected to AI, even though now they have AI integration for some parts. I still use it for the same purpose of scraping. It's really good for scraping LinkedIn and LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Important note, it don't have an option to scrape LinkedIn Recruiter. And actually, it's much harder actually to scrape LinkedIn Recruiter. They have different kind of a privacy policy. So just a note. Okay, I use a Phantom. They have a lot of Phantoms, which are different kind of workflows or integrations. But I use a Phantom called Sales Navigator Search Export. Very, very simple. It's one of the most simple Phantoms, which you put here, Sales Nav URL. So you just take your URL from here, very simple, put it here. Okay. Another note: if you have few searches, how I said before, like not a small search like here, like if you have a few thousands of profiles, you need to put your URLs in a Google spreadsheet, and then the input would be here, a spreadsheet URL. You would put here your Google Sheet URL. Okay, this is another way to do it, but now just to make it as simple as possible, we're gonna stay with one URL. Cool. We save. Okay. Now Phantom Buster will find your LinkedIn account. There is actually a LinkedIn extension, and once the extension is enabled, the website will automatically find your LinkedIn profile. You save it, you modify, you see it's automatically set to 2,500 results for a search. You will push save. You can do it repeatedly, like if you have more results, you can schedule it like once a day or whatever you want. Again, now we do it as simple as possible, so we just scrape it once because we have only 122 people. You push save and you click the launch. Okay, I won't click the launch because I already prepared it before, and so it's already done. Here are the 122 people. Okay, that's done. This is the second tool. From here, we jump into the deep water, into Clay. Okay, here we'll spend also most of our time. Okay, the integrations. Clay, cool. I prepared this Brainfood demo in advance, so we don't have to build it from scratch because it takes time. But I will walk you through the steps one by one. So here, if you see, this is 122 rows. This is the 122 profiles we scraped from Sales Navigator. How we got them in? Two ways. One way is native integration. So as I said, here we have all the integration. You have also Phantom Buster, has a native integration with Clay. So you just, from here, put your API key, this Phantom Buster, and select your Phantom which you run. Okay, I won't do it now because I already did it. And what you will get all the profiles pulled in from Phantom Buster. Now, when you will do it, you will get only this column. This all will be empty. You will need to map the fields. So what you will do, you will push on the record. And here are all the details on the right side that pulled from the Sales Navigator profile. You can see there's tons of stuff, like you have name, the query, job title, summary, full name, industry, location, first name, last name, bunch of stuff. And actually, you map only what you want. So if you want to map a column, you push here and you can add a column to your table. I already did it. Okay, so this is the columns that we have. What I mapped: full name, company name, job title, company URL, because I will need their company URL, their LinkedIn URL, location, first name, last name, location again, and it's actually until here. This is what I mapped from Sales Navigator. Okay, this is the raw data I took from Sales Navigator with Phantom Buster, put it in Clay. From now comes the fun part, guys. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to do, and again, Clay is like clay, like the material, you can do with it whatever you want. Okay, this workflow is what I did because it's what I wanted to create. It was interesting for me. You can do like as much imagination you have, you can do with it. Okay, this is just one small example. The first thing I wanted to do is to take all the companies, and first, before I qualify the people themselves, I want to qualify the companies. Many companies here are not relevant for my search. Okay, what I did is there is a feature in Clay called write companies to another table. I will show you how it looks when you create it. Okay, write to another table. What it does is actually you choose from your list here, from the data that you have, what you want to send to another table. For here, what I wanted to do is the company name, and I call it in the new table company name, and I want to send their company LinkedIn URL, and I call it company LinkedIn URL. It's pretty simple. Okay, and I call this new table companies to qualify. Let's close it. After I launch it and I put here display button, which I already did, it's created a record in this other table. You see, it's like Google Sheets. You have tabs. So this created a new tab. And this is my new table, companies to qualify. So actually the data that I got, it's only company name and the company URL. It was only those two. From here, what I want to do? I want to do two things. First thing, I want to use AI agent. It's called like Clay agent, Clay agent, to go to each LinkedIn URL of the company and bring back the company description, because I don't have it here. It wasn't scraped. It wasn't scraped with the Phantom Buster from the LinkedIn profile. It's something that you cannot get this data when you scrape LinkedIn profile. So how does it look, guys? I'll show you. Here start the AI part, the really fun part. So first of all, you will have to choose which AI LLM you will use. You see, you have a list of the LLMs that are integrated with Clay. You have ClayAgent, which is Clay's own AI, which they use. You have OpenAI and Anthropic and Gemini here. Okay. I will use here GPT-4o because it's a bit cheaper model for large numbers, and the account. Okay, you have two options. You can use Clay managed account, so you use Clay credits, which you pay for Clay, or you use your own API key, so you buy the credits directly from OpenAI. Okay, I just wanted to show here. Yeah, this is the OpenAI website where you can buy your credits, but this may be later. Let's jump back. Okay, cool. So what I wanted to show, I ask AI, actually here you put your prompt, and I ask AI, okay, so your task is extracted detailed information about the company from a specific website, visit the blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's a long prompt. You need to study how to prompt it. But the idea is I ask the AI, go to each LinkedIn URL and bring me back the description of the company. Okay, you can ask it whatever you want. You can ask like how many employees they have, which industry.
All right, Alexei,
yes.
just to interrupt. So the purpose of this scrape part is to better understand the relevancy of the company records, right? So you're using the company description on LinkedIn to figure out which are the most suitable sources for candidates, and you're using Clay AI to pull it all into firstly the AI agent to pull it into to Clay, and then from there, I guess you could, I don't know, force rank the companies in terms of which ones are the most suitable. Is that the purpose?
Yes, you're exactly right. So this called in go-to-market, because we studied Clay from go-to-market guys, like qualifying the company. So before we qualify the lead, we qualify the company if it's a relevant company for us. So if I'm now looking for developers and the hiring managers, I want them only from SaaS, startup, B2B, whatever. This I can do with this tool. Okay, so so it won't pull me or won't give me, I don't know, medical devices or healthcare or manufacturing. Okay, so this is the purpose of this, and I will show. Yeah, so I actually will show what it gives. So after you do it, this is the result of the AI. It will give me here the company description, and you can map it again as a column. Here it's already mapped. And if you will open it, this actually gives the summary of each company, what they do, what's the product, whatever you ask AI to give you. Okay, let's continue because a lot of things to show and I want to show everything. After we did that, we're doing another AI, running AI on the AI. After we finished getting the information, we do the company classification, meaning we ask the AI to read the about section, this description, and tell us if it's a relevant company for me or not. Okay, but you can engineer it how you want. For now, for this purpose, I just wanted to know if it's a software product company or not relevant company for me. But you can go much more complex. So you can score the companies, like grades, whatever. So how this is looking, I run another AI. I also use 4o Mini. But here I do a content creation. So it's not a web search. I don't test the AI to go out online and search stuff for me. I give it already the company description that I have from the previous AI. Okay. And then I ask it, go to this company description, which I already got from the previous AI. And then here are the steps: access the company description, evaluate the description.
What's the purpose of this part here, Alexei? Because basically, I guess we want to get to the point where we want to message the people, right? So all of this is refinement of the leads, which I think is clear.
Yes.
So there's lots of steps there. So let's say, we've refined the leads. We've got we reduced the 1,000 to maybe 20 that we want to hit. What happens after that?
Cool. So after we did that, we go back to our main table and we bring back this information. So you see each lead, it's showing me it's in a relevant company or not relevant company for me, for my search. Then I filter out all the people which are not in a relevant company. Simple as that for now. Later on, here is like a views. I did already a filter view for you guys. You see, from 122 left only 65 people. After I removed all the companies which are not software product companies. Later on, what I do, I run a scoring AI. So
so you can qualify the candidates as well, right?
Yes, I do. I do something very similar. I ask AI to go to each LinkedIn profile, get the summary of the profile. It will look like this. For example, take a look. It's bring the summary of the LinkedIn profile. You see, you have the tech stack, you have their skills, education, whatever. And then I ask AI to score against this description. And I tell him what I want. I'd give 3 points for that, give 2 points for that, give 5 points, whatever you decide. It's basically up to you. And it will give, you see, from 0 to 10 points to each candidate. And then what I did specifically, I filtered only the people who got 6 and above. So here in this list, this is only people from software companies that scored 6 and above. Okay, until now, it's only qualifying companies and leads. From here, what we do is actually, yes, we go here. Candidates complement. Okay, I want something personal because I will run in scale. I ask AI to go to the same, I'll show you here, LinkedIn profile summary. So to each person, it will go to the summary which I already got, and to write a compliment. But again, you need to see what you prompt to test it, that you like the result. And what it will give for each profile, it will give you a short sentence. Like, it's awesome to see how you leverage your math and computer security, blah, 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 background to enhance web security at this company. And it will give to each profile another sentence, which I will later on plant in my email. And there are a bunch of other things, but I see that they are tight with time, so I will jump to the email finding tools. So after you have all of that, you can do like a waterfall sequence to find the personal emails. This looks like that. Personal emails. You will have a table like this with all the providers. And again, you can use Clay credits, or you can connect your own API of the tools that you use. I didn't do it here not to spend credits, but it will show you in the end the emails of each person. So that's for now enough about Clay, because it's a big thing. I can jump to the next one if it's okay, Hank.
Do that. That's great, because I think Clay is really interesting. It's obviously a collection of really interesting AIs that have been domains sort of very clearly. It's great that you've got a product that understands the requirement of the main users, which is ranking, sort of understanding the personalization, having all those types of things. It's very clearly tuned to people who are doing that. But yeah, let's say we've got the candidate, we've done sort of the, we've got the filters, we know what we're going to do, we've got to email them. What does it look like after that?
Amazing. So unfortunately, Clay don't have a native integration with Gem. This is the tool that we do email sequencing, but it's not a problem. You can or create a custom API call, or you can just do like the old days. You just go and you export,
download
the CSV. Very simple. After you have the CSV, you will have there is the view I created. You will have only the things that you want to be in the CSV. So like I have the email address, the complement, the LinkedIn URL, so on, what I want to download. I download it. From here, I jump back to Gem. Okay. Gem, it's a huge platform. It's like, I think, the best tool for sourcing and recruitment on the market, but it's another topic. Now, just for this purpose, I created a new project in Gem, and then I just uploaded the same CSV I took from Clay. Okay, it should have already here all the email addresses, but I didn't enrich them, but it would have already the email addresses. Once you have the people here, few options. You can go by one by one if you want, if you're not sure, and send manually like in the old days, or you can just click or select everybody, like all 65. You can select all 65 leads, and you can add them to a sequence. So you will click a sequence, and I created one, the brain food demo, this one. Cool.
Yeah, folks, for people who don't know, Gem was probably originally the most famous for creating like a CRM type solution for talent. So before they expanded into becoming an ATS, a fully fledged type product, they were particularly created a space in the market as the CRM tool for sourcing candidates. It's very natural to be using it as on a drip campaign, on a sequencing campaign like this. So it's very natural that this is going to be used for that purpose.
Yeah, thanks, Hag. It used to be called the ZenSourcer when they just launched. Now it's much bigger, of course, and cover much more things. But anyway, what it will give you, we'll take all the people, and here is our personal token. So each person has a sentence which was created by AI in Clay. And this is actually how it will look. Let me zoom in.
So there we have the email.
Yeah, but this is all recipients. This is the token. But if I will choose just a random person from the list, it will look like this. So here, if you will see, you get the personalized sentence directly from Clay planted into your email. Of course, with the name, company name, whatever you want to do. And actually, that's it. From here, you launch. You have a few steps. How many stages of that you want from the email? You can do 2 stages, 5, 7, whatever you want. And basically, that's it. You just manage the replies in your inbox.
That's the whole flow. Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Alexei. How interesting was all of that? So take it from the top. I mean, basically read the blog post. It's really kind of a very interesting, a very clear way of describing it. And of course, we now have this kind of demo on record all the way through. Sales Navigator, do the search there, pull the data on and pull it down to what we were using. It wasn't Clay immediately, was it? Phantom Buster to scrape it down. From Phantom Buster, pipe it into Clay. Basically, Clay is there to basically use as a filtration tool and also to create the personalized commentary on the candidates using AI, and then export that into a CRM where you can push it as a drip campaign. So John, I think a few people are also in the sort of in the chat saying, yeah, it seems a bit too complicated, etc. You know what? This is what we're talking about. Sourcing automation as an individual recruiter. We anticipate at some point a platform will, will switch on a button and say you can do all of this in one click. That's going to cost you probably $1,000 a month or something. This is like a hacky way to put together a very similar outcome. And the theory is the investment of time to learn all of this. And as you mentioned, Alexei, to get trained on it by some expert is going to pay dividend down the track, because if that budget never arrives, then you're not going to be stuck doing all this manual stuff. Can you give me an estimation as to how much time this would save you as a sourcer, Alexei? Like how you've obviously used it. It's quite new because you published it. You're excited about it, but have you seen any kind of any progress in terms of how efficiently you've been able to find candidates? That's basically the main thing, isn't it?
Yes. So 2 things I wanted to say about it. One thing is you need to put a lot in the beginning. So as everybody said, it might look technical, and when you are new to all of it, it might take longer. But once you're like familiar with the tools and it's not your first time, I would say to build a workflow like this would take like 2 to 3 hours from scratch. Even if, you know what, even let's take half a day to build a full workflow. But again, we won't work on 100 people, we want 8,000-9,000 of profiles. And then you just, you schedule your emails for a few weeks in advance. So what a sourcer would need to sit and work and go manually through profiles for a month, let's say, you can build this flow in half a day. Okay, so it saves a lot. But this is one hand. On the other hand, I wanted to do a disclaimer on the thing. The AI is also have hallucinations, okay? And I would give this flow to work on, let's say, easier jobs, like straightforward jobs. Like, for example, this what I showed, like the senior front-end developer with React. It's pretty similar. It's straightforward. You need React. You need some years of experience. You need location. Boom. If you work on like very niche position, which requires X and Y and Z, and it becomes very complicated, it's also harder for the AI to filter and qualify the people. And then you also need to use more expensive LLM models. So then it's a higher investment also. So
yeah,
things to consider.
It's right now a trade-off. And folks, it's one of those where basically, I think that a lot of people would initially think, you know what, I'm just going to go what I used to do and just track through. I get it. I get the temptation to do that. But I would make an appeal for people to sacrifice a little bit of that initial like productivity work and invest your time in developing the knowledge and capability to do this type of workflow automation, because it's going to help you going forward. And it's the only way we're going to stay competitive in any case. Okay, Alexei, listen, I've got to let you go because time is pressing. Thanks so much for coming on screen and giving us a demo. Really good to see it. And it made a difference to actually see the demo come live. So that's fantastic stuff.
Thanks, Johan.
Okay, see you later, Alexei.
Bye.
Cool. Okay, folks, we're running like super over time, and I appreciate it's going to be a little bit sort of people are dropping off on us all over the place. I want to bring on Yves though before we come on, before we leave the show, because firstly, he is also a person that has been spending a ton of time, I think, doing similar type of stuff, maybe even further advanced than Alexei. Again, topic is single recruiter. How do we DIY sourcing automation? How do we play with it? But I think that already I can see that the workflow that Alexei put together probably, would have already transformed the game. Certainly when I was doing recruiting work. So it's the game is changing as we see it. Okay, Yves, really good to see you, sir. Long time no see. In fact, you haven't changed. Or do I see that you've put on a ton of weight? No, you haven't. You look great, mate. So listen, Yves, a wonderful. So we all, mate. Yves, why don't you quickly introduce yourself? Who are you? What did you do, man?
Yeah, sure. My name's Yves Geijn. I'm originally a Dutch guy with some swerving around. I moved to Spain a few years ago. I run my own hiring firm called Maven, and I mostly help people in the technology space, but more and more questions actually digital products, but with non-tech requirements as well. So I see a little bit of a branching out there.
Yep, absolutely. And I think there is such a gap, guys. Anybody who's a technical sourcer, who've been excellent at building sort of stuff and finding the way around, I think the future could well be you make more money coaching people how to do the automation side, coaching people how to do this flow, because there's people like me are never going to do it. And I'm going to, my hand needs to be held by people like you and Alexei. Okay, Yves, let's talk about it. Where do you think we're at? The topic is, okay, what can we do with sourcing automation in 2025? What's your take on that question? How would you respond?
Yeah, so I just want to kind of like zoom it, like briefly mention Alexei. Like Alexei is using a tool which actually I learned a bunch of things. I think it can be impactful, but what always is a good way to start is figuring out what's your specific use case, right? Because for instance, during the explanation that Alexei gave, it took him quite a bunch of steps to get to the company description and holding that against what you're searching for. There's other ways of like completely automating that step again. So before it gets so daunting to you that you go, oh my God, I'm never going to cross this bridge. I have to be honest, I've been a little bit more technical for the last few years, I guess, but I also wasn't really super capable of building a fully fledged application that does a lot of the stuff that normally takes me a lot of manual time. But there are so many tools right now that can help you become almost an engineer overnight that I think if you get daunted by all the integrations and the tools, because in the end, these tools also sell a seat and the data that is just API connect, you can do a lot of stuff yourself. You just need to really early on figure out what is it that I want to do. Make it really small. Same as with prompting. If you get too complex with AI, it starts to confuse itself. Like, keep it very simple. So I think in light of where we are today, if you have a good understanding about what the blueprint is that your client is hiring for, and you have a good idea of how you want to handle data respectfully, because it could also be you on the other end of the foot in your personal data. So I think you need to think about it, apart from what LinkedIn says. Then you can build tools yourself. And that's what I'm doing. I have been doing for a while. Recently, because of where AI is, it just really started to help me again a lot more. So I can do work completely without any developer support right now. And only when I'm going to stage my app into production, I have to think about what database I'm going to use, how I'm going to handle that data respectfully, how I'm going to adhere to GDPR, because I am in Europe. But the point is, I want to analyze more data in one go. And what Alexei and I share is, how efficient can you be? I'm a one-man pony, and sometimes I work with a few people around me, but I'm a fairly small business, but I can handle the work of a lot more people, and I do that through the use of automation. So I think if you just look at all the tedious amounts of work that you have to do every week, what can you isolate into one question and zone in on that and build something to help you automate that step? And that's what Sourcing has been trying to figure out for years, and I've been also part of that community. But I think you're now at a point where even if you don't have that many technical skills, you could really, really start honing in on it. And it's the ultimate way of doing it, because why would you take all the hours if you can be more efficient? And I'm not saying go and play football outside. No, spend the time that you now won on the sourcing side to, and this is where Alexei and I maybe differ. I also did years of the like find something personal, give them a compliment. Me personally, I like to just build a genuine relationship with someone. I'm also more hired for senior hiring, so the numbers are sometimes a little bit smaller or super niche hiring. But I really see the value in a recruiter or an engineering leader or whoever it is will remember you for years if you build a genuine relationship. And I feel it almost like a passionate thing to say. Let's not all become consumed in AI to the point where we're all prompting the hell out of it, because the developer will know what you're doing, and you're going to pollute the public conversation a lot if we're all going to do that tomorrow. So don't let go of that. Use automation.
Oh, the pollution's inevitable, though. I've long accepted this. I don't think there's any stopping. I mean, this leads us to a different conversation, but I don't think there's any stopping the idea that we're soon going to get a lot of like overwhelming AI automated personalized comms, which is going to cause an initial spike of engagement because people on the receiving end of it will think, oh, that's a cool email, cool message. But then there'll be a collapse, a crisis of engagement as everyone starts doubting everything. And our inbox will become basically, the vision I have is that we're going to transition from this. I'm a big fan of sci-fi, so I would use the analogy of we're going to move from an Avatar-like world of plenty into a Mad Max world of like just defensive cities, and the only thing that's sort of everything on the outside of these defensive wall cities is just chaos and monstrous and dangerous, and that's where AI dominated chat's going to be. Behind the walls, that's where there's going to be validated human comms. And we're going to retreat from public places basically and just spend all of our time in places that we know other people are going to be human and not sort of AI enabled, sort of say. That's a theory I've got, but I think that's
what's going to happen. It's a bit dark, but I like it, Hank. No, but in all seriousness, I think the reason why I'm saying this, maybe you want to make another point. If you stick to a certain domain that you're hiring for, if you feel really comfortable about a certain domain, you can try testing yourself with engineers. But when I was hiring chief architects at Facebook, there were only 4 in Europe when I started. I was actually the first in Europe to start doing that. You can wiggle yourself into some tricky technical conversations. You have to feel really comfortable in how far you can explain yourself. That's part of sourcing in the future to me, is like if you automate everything, still the end request is there's a human apparently that we need to hire to do some of the work. What is the connection that you bring? What is the added value that you bring over full automation? And I think humans still like to interact with humans rather than a chatbot or anything else, no matter how good they would become, because there's some serotonin in your brain which goes, it's nice to speak to a human. So I think there's a balance there in how you as a source operate. It's all personal flavors, I guess, but you can automate 95% of it. But what the point I'm trying to make is use all that time that you won and start building these relationships for real. Invest the time in understanding who you're trying to hire.
Okay, we actually need to start a movement on this because I think it's actually really quite important. There's a few people that have made very similar comments to you, but all of us are using slightly different languages. And what we want to do is try and isolate what this is. So who's made this? John Blastalica's made this point to me on this show before. We have another guy, Alex, who in Berlin, I forget his second name, Greek guy, but he also made the same comment a long time ago to me in a one-to-one. Basically, automation is going to produce a lot of excess time. That's really great, but what are we going to do with the time? We can't just accept more recs. That would be the easy thing to do, to sit there and say, yes, sir, let's accept more recs, and just like one guy recruit 1,000 people. Yes, some people could end up doing that, but the quality of the work is not going to improve. What we have to do is to make sure that, yes, we'll probably end up working more requirements, but we also want to make sure that a big portion of the time that we've saved is then pipelined into things that really make the difference for the company, such as, can you enable the company to have access to the top quality talent in the industry? If you're a recruiter and you can come and say that to your employer, hey, listen, I want to unlock the door for you so that you can talk to the top 10% of this vertical that you think is strategically important to you, that's going to make a big difference to the competitive advantage of your company. Not just filling seats, it's like opening, almost like a relationship opener for the key talent sort of people, the key talent that's going to make a difference for the company. Go ahead, Yves.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you. I really would like to be part of this movement, but it reminded me of the time, or I'm sure some of the experienced sources in this session would be able to relate. And I had it with a client the other week. There was a specific open source repository, and people really were impressed with a certain database and the people that were high contributors to it. And all of the conversations from the client led me to believe that they really wanted to aim high, and they were super convinced internally that that was what they wanted, world-class talent. And then I isolated this, and I looked at all the top contributors, and you do your data research on them, and then I came back with a shortlist, and the feedback was, it is a really great shortlist, but we're just not convinced that we can penetrate this level of the market. And then I said, well, you could also let me give it a try, because there might be a source that's senior enough to open some doors there. But they're actually still quite a bit hesitant, and they steered away from it. And to me, I think the right sourcer really does a lot of homework, reading, understanding where they're reaching out with in the first place, will be able to crack that door open. And I think if you want to talk about the ultimate added value for you as an individual, can you do this? And whatever you need to figure out, whatever data source you need to work with AI to get smarter, whatever, but it takes doing homework about something. And that's why that's a tricky thing with agencies. If you do everything under the sun, you can have a lot of recs. But once you get to more senior people who've been around the block, who know exactly who you want to speak to, who got tired of the recruiting industry, You need to watch out with what you're spamming it with, because you build a reputation taking years and you kill it if you're in a bad spot in a day. You know?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm one of these that does accept that automation will over automate. There's going to be people with far less kind of a judicious approach, and that's understandable. People are desperate, or they just want to crank out the numbers. There's nothing wrong with that. Different, like, recruitment's always had different personalities and different styles. I think that's part of the reason why the industry is resilient, is because we're all doing it slightly differently. I think long may that continue. But we can see that what will happen is that the automation is neither a kind of an emphatic good or an emphatic bad. It's going to be applied in different ways. It'll affect different people in different ways. You just got to find your way and find your niche to it. But yeah, I think there's going to be a big bifurcation ultimately. So when companies are hiring, I think what they'll end up doing is they'll spend a lot of due diligence on hiring core talent. These are the real human beings that they think, you know what, we're going to bring them in. They're going to make a long-term difference to our business. So that the time frame they're thinking on this hire is 5 to 10 year commit. This person's going to be a core team member. That's going to be basically a human-heavy AI light, I would say, as a quick way to describe it. But then there's going to be a lot of other type of recruitment, which is more like task-based. I need this thing done. I need this project out. And I think that's going to be AI-heavy human light. That's going to be 100%. Almost closer to Upwork, Fiverr type recruiting, where we're going to care less. We just want output and guaranteed output. That's fine. Automate, heavy, human, very light touch.
Yeah, I think you're right. But also for us all in this group, right? What you see happening in recruiting and the type of jobs that people are posting is you see more and more recruiting leaders post more entry-level recruiting jobs. I've been tracking it a little bit, and I see less and less of seniors coming in and more or less like more junior type of people coming into the team. Now, that's not new in its own right, but I think it kind of coincides with what you're seeing in the market. More and more will be automated. These younger folks will be taught exactly how to manage this automation, funnel management, if you will. And then there's not a lot of us out there who are able to do the rest of the work. So how is kind of a call to action for everyone going into the weekend. Think about how you're going to be climbing over that hump, because it will come very quickly. And you need some actual skills somewhere in order to be able to have a job down the line, I think, because it will be a totally different landscape in about 5 years, 100%.
Okay, I think that's a really important point to make as well. It's another topic we have to put onto Brainfood Live, which is the kind of the unfair moat that's going to emerge from all industries, where I think people who have kind of been pre-AI but have managed to go effectively post-AI, people like yourself, Ala, Alexei, individuals who've got that ability that you know what it is before AI, but now you've embraced AI and got beyond it, you're going to have a huge amount of advantage against someone who is both basically coming into the industry now that doesn't know the world pre-AI, because it's going to be the thing that you only know, and you're not going to have the core capability of doing it without the AI. And it's a long way of saying it, but developers have the same experience now, where you've got developers who've got senior engineers, engineering leaders that had the experience pre and post, but now they're hiring people that only know how to generate and review code. It's a different fucking thing. There's going to be a moat developing between people who have that experience and those who don't. You've got to hop over in there and get to the quick. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough, man.
And also,
okay, listen.
Maybe one little point that I just want to make in general, like the same as with good data scientists, like the data is as good as where you got the data from, how clean your data sources are. So for sourcing in general, I think for everybody, like getting a good understanding how data influx works is really important. So that whenever you advise a client on when you start to get more serious about data, that it actually is facts. And also when you start to build tools around it yourself, like I'm doing, to ingest that data, to analyze that data, especially when you go into technical leadership, meaning there's elements that are technical, there's elements that are people heavy. I don't want to be reviewing thousands of profiles manually. I want to respect their privacy. How do you bridge that gap and looking at thousands of profiles? And then just like Alexei is doing, he's trying to find data markers. How do you find good, solid data markers that allow you to skim through a very conversational heavy topic like what's technical leadership in a heartbeat? And those things come up when you do more senior hiring. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm more interested in, is like building tools to navigate to that data. And I'm progressing. It's not production ready, but I'm using it.
No, and just a final tip to you, Eve. I reckon, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying you have any issues on the BD side, but at some point, as a solo operator, one of the biggest challenges is to do business development. So at some point, some of this tech would be turned toward that. So imagine the future where probably all companies are going to get smaller. Generally speaking, that's the case, simply because AI is going to provide a lot of the manpower, quote unquote, that was previously required a payrolled employee. You can imagine that, you know, there's going to be some super sourcer type folks out there that are just massively AI enabled, that can do all the elements of a business, from the BD, marketing, the delivery, the fulfillment, the operations, everything. So that's kind of the future that we're going to be looking at. Okay, folks, that's about it. We've got to let you go. Rob, thanks for jumping back in. We are still going. This is probably the record longest Brainfood Live ever. But obviously, it's a topic we all care about, and it needs to be broken out into a number of different episodes. Loads more to go. But let me leave you right now, Eve. Great to see you, man. We'll bring you back into another show very, very shortly. Have a good weekend, man. And everybody, please do. Wonderful to see you all. Thanks for watching. There is a show next week. I did say to you guys, actually, there's a bunch of things happening next week that we should be interested in. We've got a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to be doing kicking off a new webinar series with Adzuna on high volume hiring. This is off our channel here. It's on Adzuna's channel, but I'm going to be supporting them for the next 4 shows. That's happening at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, 16th. So you should have got an email on that. Make sure you sign up for it. Tons of data to come on this. And Brainfood Live, we're going to move it further forward from the 18th to the 17th because of Good Friday. So the 17th on Thursday, again, we're talking agentic AI. One of our good friends, Fong, particularly Ritu Mohankar and Bill Fisher, live demo. They think they got an AI agent. That's my challenge to anybody who says they got an AI agent. Come on screen, do a live demo. I want to see it. Let's see how we go there. So make sure you follow the channel to see at least one of those shows and sign up to both of them because it's happening next week, Wednesday and Thursday, folks. Okay, that's it. I'll leave you to it. Have a good weekend.